So I was recently suggested this YouTube video by Halo called Why Roblox Isn't Fun Anymore. And it basically is just a short little, video essay on why Roblox doesn't have the same qualities that attract the audience that is, watching this. And basically an argument for why Roblox has gone downhill since then. And I think there's very much subjects in regards to talking about this. There are certainly arguments to be made that Roblox is just, in terms of a lot of other things, developer relations, staffing, admin problems, like things of the sort. There are definitely arguments to be made there to say that Roblox is definitely shittier than it was, 10 years ago. But my issue with this video is just that this video did not touch on any of those points, in my opinion. It was really just, for context, I've been on Roblox on and off since 2013, I'd say. I've seen a lot of these YouTube videos and even like posts back on the forum when they were still active, group walls, discussions, outside communities back when Discord was relatively new, all these things, and why people had these arguments for why, oh, Roblox fell off, Roblox is mid, Roblox is ass now. And it's just these same recycled points that I've seen everywhere, and people say, like, as the definitive, this is why Roblox is ass now, when this really isn't the case. These points are completely arbitrary and don't really envelop the full scope of what Roblox is actually undergoing right now. And to me, it's just like a really, I guess, I don't want to say immature, but it's just not really painting the full picture of the shithole that is Roblox. I guess that's like a nice term to put it for. So what I'm gonna do here is just go through the video bit by bit by each of its components and sort of break down why this isn't so, and what actually is the root cause of why Roblox isn't fun anymore, and why Roblox is basically just being a shitty platform right now. The points I'll go through, by the way, if I'm not talking about something that's specifically brought up in the video, it's probably because more often than not I'm agreeing with that. For example, he talked briefly about events and how they became shitty on Roblox and then they eventually just removed them altogether. I think I'm in complete agreement of that. Yeah, like events, basically Roblox fucked it all up. That was an essential, basically a community staple, and then it just ended up, going to shit. So yeah, there's that. I think one of the most important aspects that was just kind of glossed over at the end was just the fact that a lot of these issues just come from nostalgia. He brought up the fact that he played Project Pokemon, and big ups because I used to play that too. But the issue with that is that, Roblox has those copyright things that it has to go through, which sucks because if you guys will recall, a few years back, or actually not even that long ago, I might just be losing track of time, Roblox just wiped pretty much most of the audio library because there was so much fucking copyrighted content in there. And yeah, it sucks ass, but if they're gonna do that, they're gonna catch like a cease and desist or whatever the fuck it's called. But the arguments for saying games are shittier today than they were 10 years ago, games are less original than they were 10 years ago, I think I can kind of answer a lot of these questions, because the biggest thing that people say, right, is that games today are not creative, they are completely lacking, they're just essentially just simulator after simulator, and if it's not that, it's either obbies, or as he put, also anime games. He doesn't want to play a One Piece game or whatever, that's fine, but it's really the same shit that you've seen 10 years ago. It's just like people are just getting kind of lazy with the naming. I used to have this issue when simulators starting becoming like a buzzword on Roblox. All you saw was sword simulator, animal simulator, pet simulator, all this stuff, and I was like fucking livid. Like back when I actually gave a fuck, I was like, holy fuck, these games are gonna ruin Roblox. They're gonna take out all the creativity. But in reality, it's really just like a face value, because a lot of these people complain, like the people that complain about Roblox simulators, I find, don't really even give them a chance or like play them at all. I'm not saying you need to give the time of day for a lot of these games, I don't, for sure, but I remember one time I played this sword simulator, I believe, and what I find interesting that people don't really touch on is that simulator games of today are engineered almost like to a professional level to be, addictive. They have all these systems in place, rebirthing and like, cookie clicker type progression that really drags you into the gameplay that a lot of people don't talk about. They just dismiss it as like a shitty simulator game when they don't realize, like, and he brought this up as well, developers are getting more and more proficient in coding in these game design features, these game design processes. They're hiring, some places have like professional teams now, and not enough people talk about this. So yeah, the skill is definitely up, and as Halo mentioned, yes, it is, a little bit more easier and a little bit more profitable to just go with a simulator name. So you can't just dismiss every single simulator you see, including obbies as well, as, like, oh, it's like a shitty thing. I mean, I can go back when I started, like, Build to Survive was the biggest thing out there. Build to Survive the zombies, Build to Survive Elmo, Build to Survive, like Area 51, like all this shit that was like out there. Build to Survive the Killers, I remember, Survive the Killers, Escape the Killers, you know, those are still pretty big, but they're just not as big as, you know, the simulators. So you can't really fault people for, you know, oh, there's a lack of originality on Roblox, because it's always been that fucking way. It's never been, you know, any bigger, any different. It's just that people, and more specifically the demographics that are being attracted because of that addictive like nature that people don't talk about in simulator games today, are just inherently attracting more kids. And just because of Roblox's, you know, the way they present themselves is more attractive to kids, which is hence why a lot of us, you know, started when we were 9, 10, maybe even younger at that, and you just fucking got your hands into it, and you got into the, you know, the quick, easy, repetitive, easy to like understand cycle of build, survive, escape, all this stuff. Project Pokemon was essentially just a Pokemon game codified into Roblox. It wasn't really doing anything revolutionary, but that's the reason you get into it. It's literally like playing a fucking free Pokemon game. If you understand Pokemon, essentially, you can play Project Pokemon. That's why I think, you know, I know that devs are being underpaid or whatever. I've seen the statistics of, you know, how much of a percentage of Roblox devs actually get from every single in-game purchase that players make on their, you know, their own experience. But for the love of God, if you guys have this issue, don't take it up with Roblox. This is a fault of the developers, and by extent, it does become an issue of Roblox, but on the developers' behalf. You know, people don't get originality from not taking risks, not taking chances, and I honestly sick and tired of just hearing the players say, oh, well, we should just take it all the way up the ladder and talk with Roblox. Yeah, like, and I'm not trying to be like a fucking Roblox bootlicker here. They're a shitty corporation from all the things I've heard about them, but developers should start holding some accountability in terms of taking, you know, a new essence of originality into the Roblox platform, rather than just shifting it all on, well, if Roblox paid us more, we'd have more incentive to make original games. When that's not really the case, see, because even if you gave a bigger percentage, a bigger profit margin for the developers, and the simulators are already so good at making this money, why would the developers switch back anyways? Because now the simulators are just making much more money than they did before. And this bullshit about, oh, I need a professional team to make Roblox games these days, no, the fuck you don't. I mean, I've personally learned, you know, back in the day, I had to learn coding. I, you know, taught myself. I didn't take like an online class or anything. I'm able to, you know, do some rudimentary stuff. I can kind of get a basic grasp. I might have lost some knowledge because I haven't done that shit in like a couple year or two. And even like with Blender and stuff, these professional 3D modeling, it's a really easy platform once you get the hang of it. It's not something that you need a professional team for unless you want to make something really, really good. But even then, you know, these anime games, they have these professional teams behind all the, you know, I know the Grand Piece contracted people like to make professionally made 3D modeled and textured devil fruits. But at the end of the day, you still have like a shitty game with a shitty gameplay mechanic that's kind of fallen off from the huge grace it used to have back, like, you know, less than 2 years ago, back when Deep Woken was just coming out. And all for what, really? I mean, at the end of the day, at least to me, this is my new take that I've already mentioned before in my reviews. It doesn't come down to, you know, how beautiful your game looks or how pretty it is, because if the fundamental gameplay is shitty, you're going to have a shitty player count, shitty retention, overall just a shitty experience that no one's going to really want to play. And even the games that aren't named, you know, quote-unquote simulator, though, do tend to have their own issues. For example, I know that it's been a huge controversy in the Call of Duty Zombies Roblox community. I know that's like a real thing, believe me, where they say that the zombies genre in Roblox needs to have a little more innovation, because now it's just all turning into Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, like, gameplay. And you can argue that with, you know, every other game you see that's unique. I mean, he brought up Arsenal. Arsenal, if I recall correctly, is really just a imitation of, you know, Team Fortress, I believe. Or I might be thinking of, no, that's Q Clash, that literally imitated just Overwatch verbatim. And the argument here to be made that, like, you know, the Call of Duty, well, the zombies genre of Roblox, you know, that community argues, well, if you want to play a game like this, why don't you just play the original source game? Well, yeah, that's like the argument to be made here too, you know, like, you can't say something is good and it's, like, you know, unique from the simulator, so it's going to be original, but it's not. It's literally just deriving the same content from just other external sources that aren't Roblox. And that's not really solving the issue, you know? If you want to talk about, you know, originality on Roblox, you can talk about Brick Battle, you can talk about, you know, Super Paintball, you can talk about Sword Fights on the Heights. Those were original. But I mean, I guess you can say the same thing about, you know, games like Roblox 64, like you brought it up, and I believe also Mad Murder, A Murder Mystery, whatever, you know, Flee the Facility. I could go on and on, but the point is, you know, original games in the context of Roblox aren't as original as you think. And the point of this is not to fault Roblox for having a lack of originality per se. It's just saying that to ask for this is just a little unrealistic, and especially given that, you know, all the games are publicly made. It's not really by a professional team that has, like, you know, years of experience behind them or anything. The last point is just in regards to the community. All I really have to say is, like, yeah, no shit. You know, Roblox has expanded pretty much like exponentially over the course since like 2004, I believe it was founded. So to say that, oh, like the community is lacking, community is disconnected, it's not tight-knit anymore. It's not tight-knit because it's massive now. It's like insanely massive. It's like each individual, you can't think of Roblox really as, its own community altogether anymore. Because back then, games had some sort of, connectivity between them. But now you can choose to make a classically blocky game that is reminiscent of classic Roblox. For example, take a look at Super Nostalgia Zone or Retro Studio. But then when you look at games like modern Swordburst, Lumion Legacy, stuff like that, they're employing the use of R-throw and stuff to basically create a game within a game that's completely separate of anything that can run as similar between all Roblox games. I don't know how to really put this in a better phrasing, but the point is just that Roblox has given players a tool, whether you like it or not, through R-throw, terrain, bones importation. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just like you can import animated rigs from Blender or other 3D studios outside of Roblox into Roblox and still be able to animate them. That's what I'm doing in my own developer project to make essentially getting back to the original point is just that you can basically make Roblox games not like Roblox at all. And that's why the Roblox community is basically just split up between the games now, because each game arguably can have its own like fandom, its own following, and people fail to see that that's where they should redirect their eyes towards. It's not about looking for the broader context of Roblox forums, like the classical community back in the days, like where you could like know players just from like their expertise in a single game, because you can go look at someone from their kill counts, their player points or whatever it was back then. Oh yeah, like this guy's like a legend in sword fights or whatever. You can't really do that anymore. You can on a local scale, however, depending on the games you're looking at. Arcane Odyssey employs the bounty system that just shows the highest bounties, and you can it generates a internal community out beyond Roblox using the in-game mechanics it creates. That's where people should be looking, and not just saying Roblox needs to do a better job rebuilding the main community, because I can guarantee you that if Roblox forums were brought back today, there would just be a bunch of different sub-threads relating to, like, for example, Pet Simulator General, Lumion Legacy General. It's not like, people consistently asking open-ended questions on the dev forums, because otherwise it would be a fucking mess. Like, even on the dev forums, and sorry, I meant to say forums before, but even on the dev forums, right, like, there are just random people that go in there and just ask, like, random-ass questions that have already been answered, like, millions of times. I don't really give a fuck. I mean, like, people can do whatever. I actually find it kind of funny when you clash with, casual Roblox player to quote-unquote professional, pretentious kind of, like, developer talking on the dev forum with, like, perfect grammar or whatever. That's, like, the sort of thing that I think is amusing, but it happens more often than you think. And I don't really go on there as much as I did before, but that's basically sort of what I imagine what they're trying to avoid by bringing back the forums, because they don't really want you to intertwine with this professionality with, little kids speaking. And even on top of that, going back to the original point, it's just, there's really no point, because what are you going to talk about that's Roblox general, besides, like, like how to change your settings for your bio or shit like that. I think they removed the feed thing too. You can't even, like, post on, like, a public feed anymore. I could be wrong. I literally haven't checked, like, my homepage in, like, years regarding that, but, like, that's basically, like, what I think. That's pretty much all the points I had for this video. I mean, once again, I don't hate Halo for this. I don't, dislike them. It's just, I think the points they're saying do have some truth in them, but it's just incredibly dumbed down to the point where, it's these arguments I was making even back in the day when I was, like, at the all-time peak of, hating Roblox for whatever reason. I was like, yeah, like, Roblox sucks because etc, etc, etc. It hates the community, hates us. I don't think it's just like they really don't give a fuck. They have bigger fish to fry, so to speak. It's, they have a public stock market, a public image to uphold, stuff like that. I think it's fair to say that, they don't give a fuck, and I think that's their priorities are wrong in that aspect, but, what can you do? I kind of went over the 10-minute time frame, but this is essentially what this series is sort of going to be, just like, short, or attempted to be short, short little commentaries or rants or whatever, talking about certain things on the Roblox platform that just I don't agree or do agree with or whatever. I don't give a fuck. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but this has been Roblox Red Pills. I've been Spirited Default, and yeah, thank you for watching.